Hey folks, since the year 2007 just ended, I thought, well, I've gotten a lot of suggestions for this one to do a video showing my top 10 favorite movies of 2007. So I went through and found the ones I had, but there's two that aren't on DVD yet that are coming out in the following weeks. Well, the first movie I picked didn't do well in the theaters, mainly because it wasn't marketed very well. There was not as many trailers for it, there wasn't as many commercial spots, and there wasn't as much sponsoring for it like there was with the first movie. But it's Mr. Bean's Holiday. And this is the British DVD, the UK DVD, on HD, since HD can play universal discs, so you can get them anywhere and they work. And the reason I have this version is because this is the uncut version. In America, they released the G-rated version, which edited out a few sequences and a few lines and dubbed over a few parts, apparently. This version, if you want to watch it, this is the true version that Rowan Atkinson and everyone wanted you to see, not the G-rated version. And I thought this was good. I've always been a fan of Mr. Bean. I remember watching the old tapes as a kid, always loving it. And anything Mr. Bean I like. And this is something that I'm going to look back on in 2007 and really remember and like. Although I wish it would have done better, at least as well as the first one did. The next movie I picked was Superbad. It took me a while to decide if I should say this one or not, since it's really, considered really mainstream and a lot of people like it. But the thing was, I actually really did end up liking this movie, and it's definitely a movie that stands out for 2007. It's, one of those, there hasn't been too many of these successfully done teen-style movies. It actually is good. A lot of them were real stupid and not worth watching, and this one actually did a good job. And I thought that Seth Rogen, I thought that they all did a good job in this, and I really look forward to what they do next. I hope all their movies aren't identical in style, because, they got to change a bit. Because, if you look at the trailers for some of the new ones, they look sort of the same kind of humor. Like, I'd like to see him try some different things. That Dilbert Taylor movie looks a little different, so I look forward to seeing that one. But this was definitely a good film of 2007. The next movie I picked was Ratatouille. I don't normally go crazy over, Pixar movies. I like the best one I think is Toy Story, and probably then The Incredibles. But this one I really liked. I thought it had a really good story. It was actually really worth watching. And it wasn't all Push Weedish. It wasn't like one of those movies that only a kid would like, and anyone older than 7 would most of them, if you're older than 7, you're not really interested in watching them. And this one actually held my interest, and I actually really liked this one. And this is definitely one of the best movies of 2007. This video is not the best DVDs, the best features and everything. This is basically just the best movies that have come out. The next one I picked was Knocked Up. This one I liked better than Superbad. I thought this one was a little bit more mature of the film because it was written by Judd Apatow, I believe that's how you pronounce it, and directed by him, and he does a really good job. A lot of people don't know, but he wrote Heavyweights, which is one of my favorite movies. Because fat people don't have too many movies that are positive about fat people. And that's definitely, I always this is definitely a good one. He also did the Freaks and Geeks series, which is definitely worth checking out if you haven't seen that one. The next one I picked was is definitely another one that a lot of people liked, but I liked it, and there was a unique experience with seeing this movie, and a couple things happened from seeing it. And I picked Disturbia. Well, a few things that happened with this movie that I always remember was at the screening for this movie. Since I live in Baltimore, John Waters lives in Baltimore. He was at the screening for this movie, so I remember he came in. I've met him a couple times, but he actually sat, here's me, he was directly behind me. So the whole movie he was talking and saying little things about it. It was an interesting experience to have him right behind you and hear what he thought when it was over, because you could hear him saying everything. And then the other thing that happened from this movie was the little snippet review thing that me and MJ did with Don and Murph talking about this movie ended up on Google TV. And then it got broadcast on, thousands of TVs and everything. This video about us talking about it. It was an interesting thing. If anyone wants to see that video, I can send you a link to it. I'm not putting it on YouTube since I don't think Google TV would want it on here. The next one I picked is a universally hated movie, but pretty much no one wanted to see it. And it's got a real 80s style. Anything 80s that has an old school style, even if it's a little dumb, the humor, I like it. And I thought this movie was a real flashback. If you have to know the 80s, and you have to have any interest in cheesy style 80s things to like this movie, and you have to be able to handle Jamie Kennedy. And this is not a movie that I'm going to recommend to everybody. This is just a movie that I liked. It's kicking it old school. But the thing is, hardly anyone saw this, so don't judge this right away. The trailers made it look really bad, and this is actually a sad movie. And it's not like a stupid comedy like they make it out to be. It's actually worth watching. If you can rent it or see it on TV, I'd recommend just giving it a shot. I mean, not everything Jamie Kennedy has done has been very good. I mean, Son of the Mask was a piece of crap. But this movie was actually... I like this movie. And, you know, if you like 80s, the beginning was all 80s, and he's stuck in the 80s with his styles. I liked it. The next one I picked was the Molly Shannon movie, directed by Mike White, who's the writer of movies like School of Rock, and Nacho Libre, and a couple others. It's Year of the Dog. I don't know if that many people saw this movie. It was about Molly Shannon, and her dog died, and her trying to deal with the loss of the dog, and she got a new dog that was a major asshole, and she fell in love with this guy that was called Newt. It's definitely a worth watching movie. It's a real independent style movie. It has like sort of styles of Napoleon Dynamite, and then styles of the new movie Juno that just came out. But I think this is my favorite. If I compare this to this and Juno, this is my favorite of them. I really like this movie, and this stood out as something I liked this year. The next movie I picked was Hot Fuzz. I think about this and I think of Shaun of the Dead. It's hard to decide which one I liked better. Probably this one. I got really into this one. Although I like Shaun of the Dead, I haven't watched it in a long time though. But I really liked Hot Fuzz. This is the 3-disc version. And people have asked if it's out in UK. I'm not sure. I think some of these features were already on the UK version. I don't know though, because this is a re-release. There was one that came out that was a 1-disc, and then this is the 3-disc. This adds a lot of new stuff. This is definitely the one I would recommend getting. The HD version, which I have as well, doesn't have any of these features. But I really like this movie. It's definitely one worth watching. The next one I picked, some people said they didn't like it and liked Futurama movie better. I don't know, I like this one best, the Simpsons movie. You know, Marsha Wallace, who plays Miss Krabappel, I met her and we talked about this for a while, and she was really pissed that she got cut out of this. I did notice that a lot of characters were not in this. That was the only flaw, I guess, with this movie, was there was a lot of people that I would like to have seen, and after hearing about this movie, since I started watching the show in 1990 as a little kid, always loved this show, never stopped watching it. There was a period of time, about a year or two, in like middle school, the dreadful middle school, when I wasn't watching it as much. But now I watch it every Sunday when it's on. But for a movie, I thought it was as good as I would hoped it to have been. And the thing is, the movie can't be the best ever because there's been so many seasons of the show, and a lot of the episodes have been 2 parts or episodes that could have been a movie. So for what they chose, I like this movie. It's definitely worth watching. Some people are like, I don't want to watch it because The Simpsons has gone downhill. Simpsons really hasn't gone downhill. It's more that I think things that are a little bit funnier have come out, and that sort of... And maybe people have just gotten tired of it because it's been on 17, 18 years, and I guess if you been watching it so much, you might not be as interested anymore. But then the 2 I picked that are not out yet is the first one, I wrote them down this list, was the Darjeeling Limited, which is the Wes Anderson film starring Owen Wilson. That movie was great. I really love that movie. I can't wait to the Blu-ray, whatever version it comes out on. That movie is definitely worth watching. And out of all the movies that Wes Anderson has done, that Rushmore, Royal Tenenbaums, Bottle Rocket, I'd say this is the best movie, the most worth watching movie. Bill Murray had a little scene in it, and he retired, not really retired, but stopped acting for about 2-3 years. He came back with this, and now he's going to be doing a bunch more things. But this is definitely a worth watching movie, and if you like independent movies, if you like movies that travel, this movie all was shot in India. and he didn't fake any of it. It was everything was India. It was definitely worth watching. The next one I picked was the Danny Boyle, or is it David Boyle? I think Danny Boyle film, Sunshine. That's coming to DVD in a week or so. And he directed 28 Days Later, the first one, not the second one. 28 Days Later, and 28 Weeks Later is the sequel. 28 Weeks Later, I didn't care for so much. It started out really good, and I thought I was going to really like it. I didn't like how the sequel wasn't shot with camcorders. I liked how the first one was shot with real cheapo digital cameras. It added a quality to it that you don't see much. But Sunshine was Danny Boyle's newest movie, and that I really loved. A lot of people said they liked it. I don't think it did well in theaters because it did. I saw no trailers. I actually just saw it at the ArcLight Theater when I was down in California, because that was all that was playing, and that was the only one that I didn't know anything about, and I saw most of the other movies. And that one stood out, looked interesting. The guy said it was good, and I actually really ended up loving that movie and look forward to getting the DVD of it. And that's definitely one worth checking out when it comes to DVD. So I try and support that movie and make people actually see it, since nobody saw it. It really bombed. I don't know how well it did in Europe and other countries, but that's definitely one worth seeing. So I hope you like this DVD video showing my top 10 favorite movies of 2007. There's a bunch that I left off. Like some of the ones I didn't mention that I thought about, I'll just tell you, was Reno 911, Wild Hogs, Meet the Robinsons, and Fred Claus. Those were ones that I thought about saying, but I wasn't sure if they were the top 10. I had to pick my favorites one. So look forward to hearing what you thought about this, and you can post underneath of it what you thought were your top favorite 10 movies. And just post your suggestions for other ones. I'm going to do a few more tonight. So thanks for watching, and thanks for everyone who subscribed. Peace out.